One thing that people say, and I want to address, people say, I'm scared he's going to try to run for a third term. If that guy tried to run for the third term, I'd hold his coat. I'd say, don't worry about the Constitution. Let him go. I would give anything for him to run for a third term. But outside of that, I think your fears are justified. I think we need to be vigilant. I think he's going to absolutely this time next year, when he sees what happened in Virginia, New Jersey, he sees what's going to happen, in a lot of other places. He's going to see the polls. The people are going to come in. He's going to try something. I promise you.
Barry in Saskatoon, Canada. James wants to know, how can the Republicans cry over the way ICE agents are being treated when they didn't give a damn about the way the police who were protecting the Capitol on January 6th were mauled?
It's a very good observation. And what I'm going to do is your idea, my dear friend from Saskatoon, which is in Saskatchewan, which is anytime that Canada used to be on Jeopardy, a friend of mine used to say Saskatchewan. But I'm gonna officially put you on notification. I'm going to steal that thought. I'm going to steal that thought
and run with it. Right.
And I'm probably not going to give credit to my listener in Saskatchewan. I'm just going to steal it. Great point. I wish I'd have thought of it myself.
Okay, Barry, we'll give you credit, though. Next, Terry in Desark, Missouri. It's Desark. I assume that's Desark. I don't know where it is, but we can find out.
I don't either. Look it
up. Dr. Terry says, winning message. He asked this question. Fix the Supreme Court, make the economy work for the middle class, and fight global warming. Simple thoughts. Yeah, sort of, Terry, and I don't want to ignore the Supreme Court. They're awful, or ignore global warming, which is an existential threat. But the short-term focus 80% on the gift the Republicans have just given you, that incredibly regressive, unfair, and dangerous, big, not-so-beautiful bill.
I agree with you, Albert. And I also, obviously, a very informed listener. And there's so much to deal with, and we gotta pick our spots. And I think the big beautiful bill is right in front of it. Now, by the way, a lot of environmental stuff in there is a lot of things you're talking about are in that big beautiful bill. A way to talk about it, but it does give us a lot of leverage. A lot.
Sure does. John in Sonoma, California. I think we hear from our dear friend in Sonoma frequently because he always asks good questions. John wants you, James, to talk him off the ledge. Are Trump and MAGA essentially announcing there will be no elections in the U.S. after passing the big, beautiful bill, as it's massively unpopular and will probably cause them to lose the Senate in 2026? So they're going to go after try to cancel the elections.
Well, I'm not going to talk you off the ledge because you have every reason to be on the ledge. I'm going to say don't jump just yet, but I understand it. I don't think you're overblowing the situation. When Virginia comes in, this is what I think is going to happen. I think Virginia and Jersey are going to come in. They're going to be more than substantial wins. Virginia is going to be really substantial. He's going to see the polling is going to be very discouraging. It's bad right now. It's really bad for him right now. It's going to get worse. And he's going to try to do something. I don't think he'll succeed, but I don't know that. One thing that people say, and I want to address, people say, I'm scared he's going to try to run for a third term. If that guy tried to run for the third term, I'd hold his coat. I'd say, don't worry about the Constitution. Let him go. I would give anything for him to run for a third term. But outside of that, I think your fears are justified. I think we need to be vigilant. I think he's going to absolutely this time next year, when he sees what happened in Virginia, New Jersey, he sees what's going to happen, in a lot of other places. He's going to see the polls. The people are going to come in. He's going to try something. I promise you. He's going to try something.
Yeah. He'd do it if he could get away with it. There is no question. So I think you raise a very disturbing but good point, John.
Yes.
Bob in Bartlettsville, Oklahoma, says, even if we could blink our eyes and win the majority in the Senate and the House, Why do we think it would make a difference? Bob, it would make a difference in the sense that Trump couldn't get through bad legislation if that were to happen. There would be very important investigations that would be held in the Senate. There would be very few confirmations, particularly to the courts, because it's a return the favors that they tried to inflict upon Democrats. So I think it does make a huge difference. Having said that, it's not going to stop Trump because he doesn't believe in the rule of law. Everything he has done to date, don't forget that big, beautiful bill hadn't passed yet. Thank God, but I'm afraid it will. But everything he's done, all the awful stuff he's done, has been done without legislative authority. So I think it's incredibly important for Democrats to win the House and hopefully the Senate in 2026. But it's not going to really tame Trump, and I don't think that Supreme Court is going to stop him much.
Okay, I want to make a couple of points about the importance of winning. First of all, the importance of winning the Senate, which I think I speak for you, is, I don't know if it's 50-50, but it's better than most all the prognosticators are saying
Right,
now. We
right.
definitely have a chance of that. What that will stop is him appointing a Supreme Court justice, which is huge. Huge. Because they have all the reason in the world. Mitch McConnell laid the president down. There's no reason that if the Democrats control the Senate that they would obligated to confirm a Trump Supreme Court nominee. That's number one. All right. Number two is when you're able to do this, you can force them to vote and you can force him to veto. He'll veto this stuff. Don't get me wrong. But every time you do that, it re-energizes, it focuses people. Number three, the bigger majority that you have going into 28 and 26 is going to be a good year, but I think 28 will, but I'm not sure. Is you're going to the next Democratic president? The more majority you have in the Congress, the better off you are. It only makes sense. So you want to win as many elections as you possibly can in 26 because it can stop something catastrophic in the Supreme Court. It can continue to bring repeated attention to his catastrophic, big, beautiful bill. And you want to build up a majority. So when you're inevitably going to lose some seats, you'll keep some and you'll keep for a long time. So there's a lot of good reasons to be energetic and concerned and fighting hard for 2026.
Yeah, I totally agree. We got good questions from John wherever they live. We had Sonoma earlier. This is John in Chicago. James, he wants to. It's a good question. Is it harder for Democrats to have a cohesive messaging and plans because we're such a broad and diverse coalition? We're not a small faction of angry white religious zealots. We have different culture, backgrounds, and ideologies. Does that make it tougher for us to have a coherent message?
A brilliant question and a brilliant observation.
Yep.
We are part of a coalition. And I always tell people, if you're in a coalition and you're comfortable, you're not in a coalition. They're not there's no such thing as conservatism, okay? They're in a personality cult. And the nature of a Democrat is we don't want to be in a personality cult. But what I'm saying pretty cleanly here is the coalition has to hang together through the 2026 elections. Don't have any illusions that the coalition is going to have its problems going forward in 2028, but that's the way it should. And Democrats are going to have to start out what part of the coalition that we want to elevate and run with. But that's a decision that's going to be made after the 2026 elections. For now, we got to hold the coalition together as much as we possibly can to win as many seats as we can. But you're right. Being in a coalition is difficult.
It is. It also makes it, I think, a more representative party, but it does present, serious challenges. Charlie in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, Lackawanna County.
Exactly. Said, is it time that Democrats finally ask questions like, if my Republican friends here are so anti-socialist, are they ready to call for an end to police, fire departments, libraries, etc.? Charlie, I'd add one more. The National Football League. What happens with the National Football League? The worst team gets to draft first and gets the best pick. And there are caps on what everybody can spend. I mean, if you're an economist, you'd say that's certainly a form of socialism. Look, it's such a misused term. And I think some Republicans realize it, because I noticed that Trump and Elise Stefanik, who will stoop at the, I'm not going to go there, are calling the Democratic winner or the New York primary a communist now. So they kind of figure, I guess, that socialist doesn't quite resonate the way it did before. So he's a communist, which of course is total bullshit. But that's what they are. James.
Yeah, I agree. And if you want to see kind of socialism, but they also have capitalism. I think they can exist side by side. If you don't believe me, go to Denmark, or Sweden, or Finland, or Norway, and what you're not going to see is poverty. What you're not going to see is people being broke because of healthcare expenses, and what you're going to see is a damn vibrant and competitive private sector. So I think this is idiotic. That your choice is unrestrained capitalism and being the political system of North Korea, and that's a false choice,
Yeah,
a
sure
really
is.
false choice.
James Paul in Rochester, Minnesota, home of the
All right.
Mayo Clinic, asked, why is Fox not subject to constant criticism from other network media?
Oh, I think, yeah, I'll let you answer that because you're more inbred in media culture.
Yeah.
Usually, the media doesn't like to attack other people. I don't know if that's true, but Fox. But I don't know. There's been books and articles about. I think Fox gets a lot of attention from the mainstream media. I mean, you pretty much know what's going on. And remember that this huge lawsuit cost them $750 million, and more to come. So I understand what you're saying. I'm not sure I totally agree with the premise.
Yeah, I agree, Paul. It's not going to make any difference. Unfortunately, they are very clever and very successful and very disingenuous. But I'll tell you this: if they ever got their way, if the right wing ever got their way, and they wanted to really curb press freedoms, do away with Times v. Sullivan, the famous '64 case, Fox would suffer, because Fox. I think there's far more defamatory stuff on Fox than there is on other places that I watch. But I don't think criticism from other media will much matter.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, they would thrive on it. They'll have nothing better. If you think if the New York Times criticized Fox, they would
Oh,
love that. They'd run that 50 times a day.
they'd take out
The
an
other
ad.
thing is you and I, we've assigned students to look at Fox and other networks, and they all come back with the same thing. They make better television than
It's
MSNBC
just
or
good.
CNN.
It's
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 yeah, it's
it's
not what
it's
you like it
it's
to.
it's
You know,
irresponsible. It doesn't.
maybe.
It's inaccurate, but goddamn, it's good television. You're right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, listen. Please keep those questions coming in. If we didn't get to yours this week, we'll try to get to it next week. And a happy 4th of July to everybody.